another match point.
Incredible third set here.
They changed their strategy a little bit and they fought their way back in.
There it is, game, set, and match.
Hello and welcome to the 2024-25 APTA Tour. We're live from the Glenview Club in Chicago, Illinois, bringing you the Chicago Charities Grand Prix, with live streaming brought to you by the APTA membership and our tour presenting sponsors, Volley and Corient. Tournament support has been provided by the following local sponsors: Wintrust, Illinois Bone and Joint, Viking, and CPTC. I'm Mike Raleigh alongside Guy Moore, bringing you the men's quarterfinal match between Graham McInerney, Adam Morgan, and Sven Buras and Matek Cherzinski.
How you doing, Mike?
Oh, Guy, fantastic. How about you?
Good evening, Mike. It's a great night here in Chicago at the Charities. This is probably the best night of the event. Probably a couple, 200 or 300 people at the tournament. Going to be a great matchup here. Just kind of a little background on the tourney so far. I mean, the level of play from the women's and men's side is just, it's, for lack of a better way to describe it, it's a whole new level. I mean, just the talent on the court and new partnerships, and it's just been fun to watch. But let me introduce our players for our quarterfinal match here. On the top left of the screen, you have Graham McInerney. His partner, Graham McInerney's wearing the gray with the white headband. His partner, Adam Morgan, in the deuce side, in the ad side right now with the brown pants and black shirt on, white hat. And then right in front of me here, Matek Cherzinski in the black hat and the black sweatshirt, and then walking up by the gate, Sven Buras. In the chair tonight, we have Pat Layden. This will be a best 2 out of 3 set match with regular scoring.
Yeah, looking through the draw, Matek and Sven's road to the finals, they didn't seem to have, kind of the seeds held through on this side of the draw. In the round of 16, they beat Bentheim and Iverson 3 and 4. Didn't get to catch any of that because we were live streaming. But on the other side, it really looked like Adam Morgan, Graham kind of rolled through their quarters and holding seeds right here to where we are now. Looking for a great match. You've got Adam Morgan. This is, rock solid. This is a new partnership between he and Graham. They're coming off, I believe they won Medina a couple weeks ago. And, Sven Buras and Matek Cherzinski, I think that's a new partnership as well.
It is. You're right, Mike. And, of course, Sven Buras won the Nationals with Nick Adoya a couple years ago. And, this is going to be an interesting match. I believe it's going to take a little time for it to play out. Buras and Cherzinski have kind of the aptitude to play quick early. Matek, obviously a big weapon in his forehand. Buras, big backhand. Graham McInerney over there, just is a great role player and will surprise you. And Morgan is as solid as they come. So
I think we're in for a great match.
I'm going to put a time limit on it, though.
Are you?
I mean, I am. I'm going to say they can play no more than an hour and a half. That's what I'm going to say.
You're saying the match is going to go less than an hour, and I'm going to take the over here.
No, I'm saying I want them to play only an hour and a half.
Oh, okay. All right.
Well,
did you talk to them?
I did not.
No? Okay. No, well, you might want to have done that before they...
That's wishful thinking, because I completely agree with you. I think it's going to go much longer than that.
Yeah, we got a great night here at the the Glenview Club. The crowd is enjoying all the action. A couple hundred people. The hut is packed over there. You can see it on the live stream. Mata Trzynski to serve.
I will say this, though, not knowing much about these two playing against each other, that McNerney and Morgan will not beat themselves early. That's just not their style of play. They both play pretty cleanly.
Very disciplined, right?
Very, very disciplined. Yeah, two new partnerships. The McNerney's play with more partners than anyone in the world, probably, right?
He gets around, as they say.
Yeah.
And I don't know who plays more paddle, but he's definitely got to be in the top 4. And I think he was last year's winner. I can't recall the name of the award he won for most points. I think he won a couple $1,000, like $10,000 or something. It's a good chunk of change for his performance throughout the year.
And Modek puts a ton of spin on those overheads when he chooses to. So it'll be interesting to see if early on here, if Burris and Stravinsky kind of stay with that tact and keep him in that overhead position.
I'm sure we've got, the home ground team there. Actually, 3 of the 4 players are from Chicago, which is, so the crowd here will be clearly rooting for a Chicago player. Got Adam Morgan as the director of rackets, co-director with his beautiful wife, Allison, up at Birchwood Club. I'm sure the entire membership is glued to their TV sets if they're not here. Modek is a former teaching pro, now with Volley, one of our great sponsors.
Sven Burris is out in Jersey at Essex Fells Club. And his lovely bride just won the women's finals earlier today. Lynn Burris.
I got to catch a little of that match. That was a great match. Good point. First game goes to Morgan and McNerney.
Yeah, and that's interesting, too. I mean, Morgan and McNerney, they, again, another team that can kind of play based on the matchup, meaning play slower or faster. But, again, first game in the match, but I like the way that game played out for Morgan and McNerney in terms of the speed. I will say that, especially on McNerney playing that backhand side, they got to be careful with hitting balls too firmly to the screen because he holds that backhand and he can snap it.
Yeah, and he's got great directional control. You know, he can take it down the line. He can always rip it through the center, but he's got that ability to pull the ball on that sharp cross court as well. You know, you'd mentioned that Sven's backhand is his big weapon, and, you know, Matek Chervinsky has the hammer of a forehand. And, you know, Adam Morgan likes to drive off both sides. Graham, you know, he can drive off both sides. He loves to drive off the screen, like you mentioned. But his biggest strength is, you know, that transition game with blitzing.
And you'll see as this match progresses, too, it's McNerney also has a very good forehand volley. Not that, again, that we teach that, but at the higher level, you see a lot of players hitting forehand volleys because that's where the ball is being hit. They have no choice.
And his width, you know, his width at the net, he covers so much court. I mean, all over the place. But, boy, he does it so well that, you know, he blankets the net with his reach. So, you know, he's expecting to cover more court than just the area of his backhand.
And that's a perfect example of what you just talked about. Screen drive, right? And we said it earlier. Be careful about hitting that ball too hard to his backhand. And he hit that ball with 100% anticipation. He hit it knowing he was going to blitz, and obviously the result he wanted. He doesn't miss many volleys like that.
No. There was that backhand we talked about. Thing was tattooed. Boy, and you'll see the different, you know, the use of that lob and the different heights of the lob is, you know, I think something that gets lost on the average player. That you'll see a lot of times where Graham or Adam will hit that block lob, so it's a lower and it's back over the airspace of the team at the net, kind of reducing their amount of time to set up an attack. And then more of I'd say an offensive-minded lob, wouldn't you?
I couldn't agree more. And that's what Graham does so well. And, you know, from a net team perspective, you got to recognize it. You got to recognize, am I getting the ball to the screen or not? And pace does not favor the team at the net. It favors the team on the baseline. So, you know, it's as that ball keeps coming back quicker and quicker and quicker, the positioning will suffer. And I'm talking about more from an overhead perspective, Mike. If you're not getting, I mean, someone driving you 4 times in a row when you're standing there, that's not what we're discussing. We're discussing the fact that if you're intending to get the ball to the wire with your overheads and it's not going there or not getting there, then it keeps coming back quicker and quicker. And then that height that you talked about becomes a big factor.
And then you'll see when they defensively, they, you know, maybe struggling off of a good overhead, they'll throw that thing up higher to give the backcourt team. So they're using the lob to either shrink time or expand their time. You know, reactionary. If I'm in trouble, I might, you know, put the sky-high lob up there and give the backcourt team a little more time to get situated. That's what, Adam Morgan has made a career on, that opportunistic drive. He hits a real, not a huge topspin, but boy, it's a heavy ball.
And he moves so well. So if he's hanging out of his corner, he's baiting you to go there so he
Right.
could do exactly what he just did. And there again, I mean, Graham's best drives are off the screen. And he's so rangy, too, with his height. There's another screen drive. Here it comes again. Bang.
Boy, you see that big cutter from Chervinsky that goes at Adam's left hip, but he's calling yours to Graham, letting the ball travel all the way across the middle of the court.
So the last 4 drives McNerney's hit are all screen drives, which I think are the toughest ones to defend because is it a lob, is it a drive, right?
Mm-hmm. And a lot of times, too, he's pulling up into the court to hit it.
And notice, too, Morgan crept in there, but Graham had zero intention because he knew he hit it hard and it was going to be a ball that they would just transition right in behind. He didn't have time to move in there and get into any type of position to deal with the next shot. Even as good as his hands are, just a good decision.
I mean, there's McInerney to a T.
Yeah, for a big dude, a tall guy, he moves so well. I mean, the range is obviously something that he's going to have because of his length, but he just covers a lot of court, and he covers it quickly.
It's kind of not fair when you're that tall. You take 2 steps, you're baseline to net. And it takes me about 13 steps to get there.
14.
With the head start, 1 step inside.
Come on. Don't foot fault. Don't foot fault. What do you mean?
And Adam Morgan here you see him hitting a practice serve, that underhand serve or sidearm serve, whatever you want to say. He was what I'd call an early adapter / influencer on this shot.
Yeah, what do you think about that serve? I mean, it kind of was popular 3 years ago, kind of started to, I don't want to say dwindle, but I think players experimented with it.
Yeah.
I mean, you don't see it at the club level hardly at all.
I think it's too hard at the club level
For sure.
to hit. I mean, and I think you're right. You're not seeing it as much. They're more likely to now to just serve and stay back, as opposed to try to hit the underhand serve and come in.
I think the underhand serve, too, from a mentality standpoint, it just feels a little sexier to hit an overhead serve.
Big kicker.
Yeah, it does. I mean, it does. So what you're saying with that underhand serve is I'm just trying to neutralize a big drive, which I think is a positive thought, but it just doesn't feel as good.
Mm-hmm. But I don't know anybody that hits it, any better than Adam Morgan does.
I could not agree with you more. You're right. That's why he's still hitting it.
Boy, you don't see that often, Graham. Missing the screen. Must have hit the seam or something.
Graham also has one of the best waterfalls in the game, that down up overhead.
Yeah, that is a nasty, nasty shot. Well, when you're hitting it, you know, from how tall is he? 6'4"?
I think he's still growing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, I'm thinking about having an all hair team, you know, on the tour. And, you know, Graham would be one.
Yep.
We had Andrew Ong.
Andrew Ong's got to be on it. He's got to be the staple. Who else?
Yeah, Tanaka from Baltimore.
Okay.
You know, I'd say I'd put you in there. You got some sweet flow too.
Okay.
You know?
Good.
Sven used to have pretty good flow. He's gone short here now.
Okay.
So I'm willing to, you know, take any.
Are you going to rank those?
Well, no,
players?
I just, you know,
it's just we're all on the same page.
Yeah,
all on the same. We're par.
Everybody's on the all hair team.
Okay.
Did you get those guys or not? Okay. Well, I told them they could change clothes. So.
That's a great return by Graham.
You know, Graham does so well, like on that ball, to take the ball, the serve on the rise, and get it back at the serving volleyer's feet, forcing him to make a tough volley and lift it up over the net.
I'll give you the Bayonne version, even though you live in the woods now.
Again, screen drives. I mean, Graham sees the court so well, and the ball's always in front of him, and that's what makes an offensive screen drive, is the ball moving back towards the net, not staying on that back wire. I would say these two teams are very similar in terms of their strengths and weaknesses, but Morgan and McNerney have just made fewer mistakes, and I do believe that Burris and Stravinsky want to. They're going to go to McNerney, not hit the ball hard like that. I mean, they got away with one. But that's the exact ball that he's just waiting on.
You know, I love to watch Graham play, and you know, it's lost on. Get a little read here for you.
Mike, let me tell you about one of our great sponsors, Volley. Curious about what Volley can do for your club? Here's a great offer. Get 30 friends together and you'll get a free 30-day trial. It's a perfect way to see how Volley's AI-powered trainers and tools can help everyone improve and track their progress. To get started, just scan the QR code at the tournament's tent or visit getvolley.com/myclub. Don't miss out. Bring Volley to your club and elevate your game together. And you said you have Volley at your club, right?
Yeah, we got it this year, and it's been really well received from the membership. A great opportunity to select just about any play-based situation or shot and be able to repeat it, you know, and if you're not using it already, you're behind, because it does allow you to just get multiple reps, and from a pro's perspective, it really allows us to teach on the same side with the opponent. So 3-2 here, McInerney serving. But I was saying before the break, I love to watch Graham in the backcourt, how he, you can, if you just focus on his lob placement and the use of the lob to create, drive opportunities and force movement. I mean, I don't think anybody better at that aspect of the game.
Well, it kind of goes hand in hand, too, because with his range, he blocks so many balls, so then players feel like they have to hit the ball harder, than which just plays into his screen drives.
Yeah. You don't see a lot of ace serves up the, just off the, must have hit the seam, right? Anna gave a good strong look at the back screen.
Wow.
Wow. Hello.
That is big time.
Back-to-back aces. Do you think he's got a third?
So smart to stay back there, too, even though he just served so well the last 2 times. And after Burris and Stravinsky just grinded that last game out, a quick game, and now another quick point here. Wow. I mean, you have that reach, Mike?
On one of these step ladders that we see that they putting Pat Layden up in the chair, I might be able to hit that shot. See into this, first 7 or so games for Burris and Stravinsky they need to tighten things up just a smidge, right? We're seeing a little uncharacteristic errors.
Absolutely, and I was just going to ask you the same thing from a tactical perspective. McInerney and Morgan are always going to be solid and steady. They are not going to give you characteristic mistakes. And again, even that ball's in the nick is just hitting balls hard into the screen against Graham McInerney, just playing right. Here we go, right? Just playing right into his weapon in his wheelhouse, what he wants. And then Morgan is so good about recognizing and McInerney's hitting the ball the right spot, which allows Adam Morgan to move forward. Wow.
You hear Adam say, "My bad, partner."
For sure.
He got caught.
Yeah, even smiling about it.
Blindsided there with versus the little blitz.
Well, if he's going to do something like that, it's a good thing to do when you're up 40 love. This is the blocking. So, Mike, do you think that from a tactical perspective that they should be playing more to the ad side or deuce side, Stravinsky and Burris?
I think under pressure, they've got to be working the ball, dumping it. I would say soft center, favoring Graham's forehand. Because Adam Morgan does have that range to hit the two-hander. But what they can't do is under pressure, they can't be hitting that overhead, hard into the screen on the ad side, because you're just feeding the screen drive for Graham.
Yeah, no matter what, they got to slow it down, and they've got to hit more deep push overheads, like you said, to the middle. But Graham's doing an awfully good job of taking advantage every single time they hit hard balls to his wires, which they've continued to do the whole set.
would you say if they do go with pace, they got to go pace into the side screen rather than anywhere into the back?
With
into Graham?
McNerney?
Yeah.
Yeah, like that second panel. I mean, almost towards that light post there, where they really keep his back against the screen where he can't move forward to hit any type of screen drive. If he's going towards the net instead of sideways, it's not a good thing, because he doesn't make bad decisions on where to hit that drive. He does not drive to the person that's going to hurt him the most at the net. I was just thinking, as solid as Morgan is, you play his side a little bit more, and then when you're in trouble, maybe dump the ball a little softer to McNerney's side, not hard, because Graham McNerney, although his drive off the deck is solid, it's not hit 100 miles an hour. I mean, the shot that's hurting Burris and Travinsky the most is Graham's screen drives. Here it is again. It's just setting everything up for Morgan to be involved. Wow.
Nice little roller right into the corner.
There is a huge crowd here tonight, isn't there, Mike?
Yeah, on the live stream, the viewer can't see it out to the south side of the court. They can see the crowd along the east corner and into the hut, but there's 4 times as many people out to our south.
Wow, north and south and east and west.
Yeah, the lake is that way. That's always east.
Okay.
Like a human compass.
You really are. I mean, you actually made me start thinking about a few things there.
I'd love to take a moment here and just thank all the volunteers and the behind-the-scenes crews that make these tournaments happen. Because without them, I think 2 major things that make these tournaments successful are, the volunteers, as well as the clubs that are giving up valuable court time throughout the weekend. And, sometimes it's a hard ask, but, I mean, without that, these tournaments don't happen. So thank you to the clubs. Thank you to all the volunteers, staff of the APTA as well. Jason Love, the tournament director here. John Noble is still behind the scenes, working somewhat hard. I mean, the guy's like a ninja when it comes to court assignments and timing. And
Well, the other thing, too, Mike, is Chicago, and you're a huge part of this as well. I mean, you guys have been doing this great for a long, long time. And it's easy to get complacent, but Chicago keeps recreating themselves with this tournament, and it just keeps getting better and better. I think you could ask any player on the men's or women's side, they would say it's one of their favorites.
that's his shot.
Yeah, you can see Burris starting to slow that down a little bit, or put more spin on it like that.
I think that another, evolution of the game has been, the live streaming has really, it continues to get better and better. The offerings, I think almost all of our 19 tour stops are being live streamed this year. And the group from CSM does a fantastic job. Adam Morgan taking a page out of McInerney's book, and a nice drive off the back screen there.
Yeah, and he waited for it, and he let the ball drop right to his zone. And when he's letting the ball drop like that too, Mike, he's also, wow. Charities is just on fire with that nick. So what do you do about that? Stop lobbing him?
Well, the
certainly
hard part
short.
is he's got to lob that ball down the line. Then that angle doesn't exist. But boy, oh boy, because you can't jump ahead of that thing and try to block it. It's got too much weight to it.
All right, a little momentum shift here from 5-2 to 5-3 to 40-15 with Charities serving. I think Charities gets another short overhead. He's gonna go for that nick again, but a few less errors with Burris and Charities there.
Yeah, they tightened it up a little bit.
They really did. A little bit more variety on their overheads, and more importantly, they're recognizing that McNerney's screen drive is the shot that's hurting them. So if they're going to him hard, it's with spin, or it's more towards that second panel where he's pushed back and can't
Side
drive
screen,
the ball.
right.
Yeah, that side screen where he can't go forward. Worth reminding everyone too that last year at this time tomorrow, McNerney had won this tournament with Juan Araya. So
it just shows his his ability to play different roles and kind of meld well with all different styles of players. I mean, I don't know if you could get any more opposite a Juan Araya and Adam Morgan.
right, for sure.
Adam's much more kind of disciplined in the sense that he's, Araya's much more of a shot maker, showman, and there's a lot more flash and brilliance. Yet he played extremely well in that role.
And you just saw earlier in that point, too, crazy good forehand volleys from McInerney, which we talked about early. They were behind him to the right of where he was hitting them, but there's that down up overhead. All right, 5-4, 30 love, McNerney serving.
Unfortunate leg cord there. Takes us a triple set point.
Wow, good ball. He held that a while. Wow.
Wow, here we go. Game in first set. Morgan and McInerney. We'll be right back in just a moment after these messages right here on the APTA YouTube channel presented by CSM Media.
At Corient, wealth management begins and ends with you. We believe the more personal the solution, the more powerful the result. We treat your goals as our own. We never lose focus on the life you want to build. And our experienced advisors design custom-built strategies to help you get there. It's time for a wealth management experience as sophisticated as you are. It's time for Corient.
Welcome back to the APTA Tour. We're here at the Chicago Charities, Chicago, Illinois, with the quarterfinal match at Glenview Club between Sven Buras, Marek Czerwinski against Adam Morgan and Graham McInerney. McInerney and Morgan won the first set 6-4. That's Sven Buras serving. Start the second set. I'm Mike Raleigh alongside Guy Moore. Okay, your first set 6-4. A little loose to start, but then we saw Burris and Czerwinski tighten things up a little bit, kind of cinch that set a lot closer.
Yeah, they started to make some decent adjustments with their shot selection and how hard they were hitting overheads into McNerney's screens, period. It doesn't matter whether it's a forehand or backhand. That's where he likes to generate his offense. Great dig by Modic, Czerwinski over there. I just feel like Burris and Czerwinski need to dial into a real scheme on what they're doing. I mean, they started to adjust, and they were down in that set and won a couple games. So, I mean, that's always, well, a bit of good luck on both sides there. It's always good to try to recreate some momentum going into this second set for Burris and Czerwinski. But I tell you what, they don't want to start this set like they did the first set and get down 3-1.
That's the truth. That's a good overhead.
You know, as much spin that Czerwinski can generate, I'd like to see him hitting more of it and keeping them feeling like their backs are to the screen a little bit more. Graham's so good with his range. That's the ball I like a lot.
The third panel slam.
I do, and then he follows it with that spin. The corner's wide open.
The cutter that grabs the side screen.
Yeah, and that ball just dropped vertically. Well, look at this. Yeah.
Boy, good drive from Graham there. Take the first game of the second set here.
Yeah, the pace of this match just favors Morgan and McNerney. What do you think the tactics of Czerwinski and Burris are here? What do you? I mean, I see them moving the ball around. I mean, do they have a definitive plan?
You know, I was talking with Jason Love earlier just about, you know, he called it the hut test. That, you know, people in the hut, can you tell what your strategy is?
When they're watching another team.
Watching another
cool.
match, you know, and I think you know, that's a great way to look at it, that we've got to be able to see, you know, a distinct plan, whether it's, getting a team working a corner or getting one player hitting all the overheads or and to your question, it's a long-winded way to say I'm not sure. I haven't seen, them working a specific spot.
Well, don't you think, too, from an overhead perspective, that going back to Jason's thought, which is cool, I like that a lot, if you're seeing the overheads hit to all four of the possible spots that the ball could be hit continuously, well, that should tell you that there's no real scheme at the net. Because there's got to be a number one spot you want to hit your ball and a number two spot. And hopefully you don't have to go to three, but you certainly don't want to go to four.
Yeah.
Meaning, what is four? That's the biggest offensive weapon on the court probably, right? Or the shot that's going to hurt you the most. So that's what the HUD test should identify as, hey, it's easy to see that their top two spots are, call it traditional when you're playing the ad side, the backhand side screen and the backhand to the deuce player. That's an easy traditional 1-2.
Right.
So I'm just simplifying everything, but I don't see that from Burris and Travinsky. Do you?
Well, no, but I also, to your point, are we Morgan and McInerney so far haven't had to. It seems like the game's coming to them and they're winning the majority of the points here. Kind of on the flip side, that we're not seeing their distinct, all right, this is what we're doing, but they're not having to.
Exactly.
Right.
You just said it. They're not having to. When they have to, I'm sure we'll see it.
What a great volley.
Well, the other important part of having the spots that you're going to hit, there's a lot of layers to it. One is, from an overhead perspective, whether I'm in the volley or overhead position, I know what those spots are. And if I'm in the volley position, if I know my partner and I agree on what those spots are where we're hitting our overheads as a team, well, if I'm in the volley position, I'm 100% a better volley player for you because I know where the ball's going to come back from.
Right, and you can anticipatory movement and defense.
And not only that, if those spots you thought were your best spots aren't, you're still disciplined enough to go, hey, we tried that, it doesn't work, so now we can adjust, right? If you don't stay disciplined, you can't do that. Again, screen drives from McNerney. And the thing about that too, Mike, is McNerney is, if you're going to grind this match out, and again, it's been a long day. I mean, we're at 7:20 at night, and all these teams have been playing all day long. If you are going to play McNerney and you're not going to hit it hard, you're in for 100 ball points every single time. So are you willing to do that? And that's what it comes down to. And that's not been the case so far. And same with Morgan. You play Morgan, you got to be a nut. You're going to be you're going to be. Listen, you're going to have 100 balls coming back to you on each side of the court. And that's why Morgan and McNerney are a very good team, because they will not beat themselves.
It's a very tough out, yeah.
So my question is, would you rather play them at 1 in the afternoon or 7 at night?
Characteristic miss from Adam Morgan there.
All right, 15 all. Love 2. Mike, do you see how quiet McNerney's hands
I
are?
was just thinking the same thing. And he came in, and if the ball wasn't anywhere where his paddle was, where he set his paddle, he's letting that ball go through.
And
you know.
so such a good point. But that just goes to prove the only place he was looking for the ball to go was where his paddle was.
Yep.
That small little window, which is exactly where it went.
Oh, he should have laid off that last one.
Yeah, Morgan was there. All right, a little life. Okay.
You know, I've got a theory, and it hasn't I haven't worked it all the way out, but if you were to solely look at the team losing the most quick points, I would say they generally are losing the match. You know, where they're having that first or second touch error, and it's boom, 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 boom. You know, and I just think of the best teams in the country. They don't lose a lot of quick points.
Well, we just watched that match, didn't we? With Regalado, Salazar, and Rams and Wagner. I mean, again, Rams and Wagner just had a very long match before that, but what you just said is awfully true. I mean, they did not win many of the quick points, and it's hard to have a lot of patience when you just played a 3-hour match. 20 minutes later, you're back on the court.
Oh, that's a good rep.
Burris went to like lockdown mode there. I mean, you see him get down low, get small. He got ready for everything there. Out. Big change of events there.
Yeah, that's an unfortunate ball entering the field to play, causes him to play a let, and he throws in a fault.
Wow.
Great leave.
That's a big hole by Modek Travinsky.
And I'm taking an opportunity to hit a little practice roller serve. Yeah, have we seen anybody else hit that sidearm serve in this match? I don't think we have.
That's what Graham does so well, McNerney. I mean, he just makes you feel like he's not there, and then he could just,
Yep.
I mean.
That one half step over and then the drop.
I tell you what, too, Morgan, you know, with that sidearm serve, he just, going back to what you were just saying, he just trusts his first volley so much. You see how stable he is and balanced he is when the ball's coming at him. Morgan, tell me you just didn't miss
Was that
that
the
volley.
commentator playing to jinx there?
Yeah, when I'm pumping you up. I mean, all right, good. You're redeemed. You're redeemed. Always, too. I mean, not talking about the transition game as much, Mike, but say to everyone that Graham's a good example of that right there. Is how do you know if you were balanced when you hit a volley? It's what you look like after you hit the volley.
Yeah, very little. The before and after photos are
Right.
very similar.
Ooh. Burst through his
That's a
paddle.
nice catch.
That was a
wasn't it?
great
That
catch.
thing.
A couple NFL teams could use that type of receiving
Man, oh
effort.
man.
See if they switch out here. When I say switch out, I'm talking about McNerney and Morgan. I think they should. That's why.
Yeah. So I had him get a little ambitious with that volley placement.
And you just have, you put McNerney in the overhead position there. I mean, he's just got so much more length to cover lobs and.
Well, I think, yeah, he's got a little more range, too, as we saw, where he can hit the drop shot or he can hit, Adam's got a killer roller. He can cut the ball, but nothing like Graham can.
See if they switch here. They
And
might not have to.
you see when Morgan and
Here we go.
Frazier.
That's what I want to see.
With Morgan and Frazier in the last couple of years where, Tyler Frazier was the one who was slicing and dicing and wheeling and dealing at the net, and Adam was pretty much working on defending the drives.
And that's that down-up kind of waterfall overhead that McNerney very good at. That is a great overhead. There's a forehand volley we've talked about. Yeah, this formation is great dig by Morgan. Hit the seam. That's about as animated as you'll ever see McNerney get right there.
Right.
I mean, his heart rate probably went to like 41 instead of 40. Great volley by Morgan. Just stay in that spot, Adam. That's where you are just so good. And I think going back to what we said a moment ago, McNerney and Morgan just need to keep it, let it come to them just like that. Transition.
Watch it.
Oh, wow.
It ain't over
Oh,
yet.
let it
Wow.
go, let it go. That's tough when you're in the moment.
Yeah, you just heard him say on the mic, sorry, I got to leave that one. You don't see a lot of one-handed backhand drives, do you?
No. No, that was a nice little flick by Monik. Little Federer. Little Johan. Switching out here? Yes, right there.
It's good lobs.
So that's a great example of why they switch out, because that ball was a fantastic lob. There would be no way Adam Morgan could cover that. Not in a bad way. I mean, just Graham's height just is such an asset there. And that's where Burris and Chervinsky can get their way back into this match if there's some bad decision making. Graham, I'm sure, wishes he had that back. He didn't want to drive that ball when the ball's behind him and he can't see what's in front of him. There's a member of the hair club right there. Right there. McNerney, right
Oh,
in your
yeah,
face.
yeah. You know, and every paddle match has multiple, waves of momentum. We're seeing a little bit of a lull here with McInerney and Morgan. Some uncharacteristic decisions resulting to errors. And, I think the best teams, what they tend to do is those errors don't span games. It's, isolated into 1 to 3 points. And we'll see if that holds true.
It's a little out of character for Morgan. Just pressing a little bit. Doesn't need to.
Especially on a volley.
Right. Missing wide is not the place you want to miss on a volley.
They must have been listening to our live stream.
Right.
You notice that the overheads are slightly dialed back a little bit.
And they're not letting McNerney create. That's why we're talking about, playing, there you go, the softball, but playing more of that deuce side of the court where Morgan is. Corian is excited to partner with the APTA because, whether as advisors to our members or as members themselves, they are already part of the APTA community. Learn more at www.corient.com, the official wealth sponsor of the APTA.
Boy, we see Burris and Trzynski take a 3-2 lead here in the second set. On serve.
Oh, what a get!
I have to say, this is a little bit more of what I was expecting at the start of the match.
Same.
Where there were really more grinding points.
For sure. That's what I felt about this matchup, that it was very similar, that there would be, and that there lies the conversation we were having about there's that huge backhand from Burris. I mean, that. But, you know, they're just a bit more disciplined now with what they're doing. It just took them a while to figure out that, hey, let's not hit all these overheads that hard to McNerney's side of the court where he can control what's happening with that screen drive. See the pace there. But as well, Mike, we also said if you're going to play that style, you got to be willing to play long, long points.
Mm-hmm.
There it is. As soon as he hits it hard, the drive comes. Morgan needs to wait for a better ball. He's a little jumpy here, which again goes against.
Yeah, kind of his characteristic
Yeah, I mean, he is
play.
just so steadfast and makes such good decisions. Oh, boy.
Was that four into the neck here for Matic?
Yeah. There's that forehand volley from McNerney. Oh. Wow. That was a big save by Burris.
That was.
You know, too, I think Morgan, when he's best, and it suits, his style of play as well, is when he's not looking for the drive as much like there. It's just very, very obvious. When he presses, that's when he gives you the mistakes that we're not used to seeing him make.
Well, yeah, because, you know, and I think that's the case with just about every. That's a good lesson for everybody.
Sure.
You know, if you're pressing, it means you probably shouldn't be hitting that ball. Great touch from Matic there with the drop, giving Graham a little taste of his own medicine.
Now we're at deuce. Wow, great pickup by Burris. That was behind him. Notice, too, how McNerney is never going to give Burris a ball off the deck to drive with his backhand. Oh, wow. I do like that shot, though.
Oh, absolutely. It was the right shot. He just cut it a little thin. Tried to make it too good, I think.
Wow.
Definite swing and momentum here. Sometimes it takes a little luck chords and things like that. This is almost, if there were a timeout in platform tennis, it would be the time to call a timeout and take him a minute for Morgan and McInerney to just take a breath.
Yeah, I agree. You're seeing some mistakes from, well, I mean, that drop shot McNerney missed. Great shot to hit. It's bad luck, and then the net cord as well. But
And I heard this, I think, John, was it Kilmer on the live stream? He said that not all mistakes or not all misses are mistakes. I think that was a Coach K comment. That, you know, if you just failure to execute. That's not a mistake, it's a miss, but it was the right shot.
Yeah, it's understanding the difference between technical and tactical mistakes, right?
Mm-hmm.
Morgan and McNerney have to slow things down here. It's not their style of play to make that.
To be pressing.
Last couple mistakes they made.
And we got to make sure Burris doesn't, answer in kind.
Great lobs by McNerney. Higher and higher.
See, he's going into the
Yep. Smart.
third story lobs, just throws things down, slow things down here. That's a nasty cutter.
Wow. Great dig by Morgan.
That's the way you know it was in or out, right? God's always smiling.
And what's happened here, too, is you're starting to see Chervinsky with his big forehand and Burris with his backhand. They're getting many more looks than they had in the first. Really set and a half. Ooh, that's a good look by Morgan, though.
And that was all set up by the threat of the blitz from Graham, right? Because they called blitz and watch it, and he torqued the overhead a little more pace, and it came off the side screen or back screen.
Oh boy, great recovery.
Graham made that look easy.
Wow, what a great volley. Wow. That was a fantastic volley. Back to deuce, Mike.
Who do you think this point is more important to?
Oh, for sure. Morgan and Morgan and McNerney. And you just see some uncharacteristic mistakes there, or errors.
So, that high lob, that roller is a hard shot to hit when you're falling. I mean, any overhead is hard to hit when you're falling away from the net. But particular when you're trying to roll that ball from that deep.
Yeah, you got to be on your front foot to hit that roller. Even if it goes over, it's not going to be penetrating at all.
Yeah, it tends to draw the ball.
It's
kind
not
of
going to have
shallower.
the depth, and even if you put spin on it, it's not going to mean much because it's so short. All right, Mr. Morgan to serve.
A break in the action. Graham McInerney had to powder his nose here.
Here it comes.
Adam Morgan pacing the back like a lion in the cage.
He's so ready to serve, he's just amped up.
Yeah.
All right, big point of the match here. Big point of the set, I should say. Morgan's been so solid with this serve in his first volley, too. Wow. So, Mike, let me ask you something. I mean, Morgan hit a serve there and just decided to stay back. I think it was strictly because he served it right to Chervinsky's forehand, but smart decision, right?
Yeah, I mean, and it was a little change-up.
Yeah.
You know, gave him a slightly different look.
Wow, there you go. And you could see them big time identity going down the middle there. And I do think that Graham and Morgan, McNerney and Morgan, have to switch at the net like that.
And it did pass the hut test.
Right.
Right? You could see it clear.
And the signal, same thing. Can't drive that ball, Burris.
I mean, Graham is almost baiting you to drive that ball.
For sure. And he's got so much range with his forehand volley.
I mean, you see he's all the way in the middle of the court. He's leaving up
Done, he's got it.
unprotected.
This is double fist bump. All right. Rotation sensation. Good around the post. And you can see that developing.
Three times in a row, we've got Adam Morgan serving and staying back.
Smart move. Obviously. Worked very
Right
well.
back to even 4-all, but the momentum has swung back in the favor of Morgan and McInerney here.
Smart play with that pace. All right, little switch out here. Yep.
So I don't mind that switch too when you have Burris
Wow.
and Chervinsky, on the opposite side. You got the Burris backhand and Chervinsky's forehand in the center. It's slight different look to the team at the net.
No! Sorry, Adam.
Yeah, it's just kind of who makes the error that they generally just don't make, this determining
Makes
the
the
momentum.
uncharacteristic error,
Yeah,
right?
uncharacteristic. Wow, good try, Monica. Great serve by Burris.
What a get. Adam made that one look routine.
Oh! Give him a little bit of a surprise one there. Here you go.
I think Modak hits that heavy roller. Like to see a little bit more of that. Loves to aim right at the corner.
Wow, great volleys. Oh, wow, that's a great volley by Chavinsky. On the line. 40-15. Burris serving 4-all.
I mean, those drives off the back screen on the transition drive is not. I mean, it's exactly what Graham's looking for.
Yeah, if you're going to drive the ball off the screen, especially in transition, you better know where the positioning is at the net of your opponents. Especially when you have someone like Graham who closes so quickly and loves to drop. This is where McNerney's best, blocking balls. He'll speed it up and he'll hit eventually one into that a little bit to the left of Burris's, right at his left shoulder. Cause some confusion. Like that right there. And then yep, good tempo from Morgan and McNerney. This is a big point here, Mike. Not that I need to tell anyone that.
Captain Obvious, but so true. There's the screen drive from McInerney.
Yeah, you just don't want to go there hard backside. You just don't.
I mean, granted, it was a great lucky shot, but he shouldn't have that opportunity to be driving that ball.
Right. It was only created by the overhead that Burris hit. Again, it's interesting because you saw them for a few games buy into hitting the ball softer, McNerney, and then, again, not sticking with it.
And your point earlier about the uncharacteristic errors, we did have a missed overhead, at the end of that game. Graham McInerney serving for the match, spot in tomorrow's semis. Adam Morgan wisely just bails and gets an opportunity to.
Yeah, bad matchup there.
I say there, you don't want to be driving the ball when you're playing uphill. I mean, you're lifting a low ball up to a volleyer that is on top of the net and able to volley downward. And for that exact reason. Triple break point.
Wow.
Score is 5-all in the second set.
Shout out to Clay Bibby.
The doggy. What's the doggy got to say?
He said we were sounding great.
Good.
Yeah.
Good. Yeah, Mike, it's interesting how, every other game, teams are just making the uncharacteristic errors that they don't usually make. And
Well,
a lot of it has to do with the fact that it's 8 o'clock at night and they've been playing paddle since 8 o'clock this morning.
right. And, the other kind of thing there is that it is, what I'd call a pressure situation. We're going deep into the second set. Those errors are compounded here now at the scoreboard pressure.
Yeah, deep in the second set, deep in the Charities.
And we know it's not the hundreds of people that are out here watching. These guys love the crowd.
Yeah, see, that baseline scheme is exactly what McNerney and Morgan do very well with.
Well, in this 50-50 volley right there that Sven tried to stab volley, two of them.
Yeah, you got to let that go. That just proves that looking to volley in too big of a window, when someone's going to crack the ball like Morgan was, you can only look at the ball coming right at you because of the reason you just saw. As good as Burris is in his hands, it's very difficult to look for. There's a little bit of bad luck with the nick. Wow, good lead by McNerney there. So there's the other side of it. McNerney was only looking for the ball at him. He wasn't willing to reach for anything.
Yeah, I like to say it's a little more laser-like focus, not a searchlight. Where you're really only looking for a ball in one spot and not trying to cover, the entirety of the net.
Now, is that your terminology, or did you get that from your dad, or
No, that
somewhere
was
else?
full on mine.
Really?
Every once in a
that's
while.
a little searchlight and laser light.
Every once in a while, over
I mean,
32 years, you'd think I'd come up with one good
a little
one, right?
searchlight and laser light. What about the lighthouse? Anything on the lighthouse?
Well, not yet.
Or is that the searchlight?
Aren't you out in Rhode Island now? Don't you? I mean,
I know.
you
That's
gotta
what I'm
pull that.
asking.
Yeah.
I might need a little searchlight
There we go.
sometimes. Yep. All right, 1540. Wow. Tell you what, takes a little luck too. I mean, it's a big play there.
Oh, what a get.
Morgan, that is so good. That is so good, Morgan. And you know what? It just goes back to what we've said is, don't drive balls when you're on your back foot or where you can't go forward. You could see Adam Morgan, after he hit that, his momentum was still taking him forward, which tells you, without a doubt, the right ball to hit. And that's where he stays so clean and so solid. Now, Morgan's going to be walking around for the next 10 seconds. He's not going to stop.
Pacing, yep.
He's going to pace. If he was in your backyard, there wouldn't be any leaves on the ground or anything.
He'd be doing pulling
or certainly next to the fences, there'd be like a little path where Morgan was just pacing around.
What kind of dog do you think Adam Morgan would be? Pit bull? I'd say, what do you think?
That might be the funniest question I've heard in a month. That's complete silliness. Is so good. You don't think it would be like a little golden doodle or no?
Oh no, black lab.
Black lab, chill. Yeah. A black lab after was like 8 years old. Yeah. No, he would be like a golden terrier, like the one that have so much energy they just don't sleep.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's him. Yep.
That is an incredible volley.
I like that. That's really good. Yep.
That had been a pattern that was working, so you can't fault him for that.
But Burris saw it, and I mean, he's just got to. All right. 15 all. 3 points away from the match. Who is going to buckle their seatbelt, Mike? There again is that great forehand volley by McNerney. I promise you McNerney's not going to hit a ball to the open deck to Burris's backhand at this point. There you go.
A couple really good series of lobs there.
And just keep hitting that hard side back or go to the middle. Morgan is just dialed up here. Love that ball. Oh, wow. That is redemption for that missed forehand volley a few games ago.
What missed forehand volley?
Yeah,
See?
exactly.
Forget all about it.
What do you mean?
You know, and from that same setup, he can hit the waterfall.
Wow. Ooh.
Burris torched that one. He said, drop shot this.
Where is Charities going to go with his return? Right there.
A lot of speed down the line.
Switch. Let's switch here. McNerney and Morgan, they need to switch. See how much harder Morgan has to work for those deeper lobs just because of the range. Are you surprised they're not switching? I just think that that's what happens when you don't. They've been switching and it's working, and biggest part of the match, biggest point of the match probably so far, why not?
You know, unless that they were trying to give them a different look in the backcourt. But
well, I mean, you haven't seen anyone hit the ball out of the court today, and Graham's used to dictating in this match, control of the overhead, and he's trying to do too much. Switch. Are they going to switch? You tell me, Mike.
I think they will.
There it is. And that's why the switch needed to happen, too. That lob was a very good lob from Burris, but with McNerney's height, it just gets neutralized quickly. And the 4 volleys that Morgan just made previous to that were Graham does such a good job of letting that ball drop and putting just a little edge on it.
Yeah.
Where when it hits the back screen, it completely dies.
Just a little bit of lazy cut on it.
All right, match point. Wow, good leave. Morgan quickly calls a switch in the backcourt. And we've talked about that a little bit, but the person hitting the ball in the backcourt needs to be, wow. Calling the switch.
That was a big-time cutter at a big time in the match here.
Wow, Graham. Keep Travinsky on the hook.
McInerney and Morgan have really kind of shut down that two-hander. The Burrises, they haven't.
For sure.
Avoiding that like the plague. I might want to avoid that forehand, too, like the plague.
That spot where McNerney lobs, it creates that movement where the ball gets moved over to Morgan. Ooh. Wow.
Can I clap? Is that okay?
That's all I
to
can
clap?
say is wow.
It's
I mean, what else can I say? Look at this replay.
Four fantastic volleys.
Wow. I mean, and great job on both sides of the court there. I mean,
Yeah.
I would have keep driving all those bows they drove. I mean, it's. Smart by Graham. Burris was looking for it. You saw him.
You see him just.
He was actually just baiting him to go there.
Ready to pounce.
Again, that McNerney forehand volley, that is not an easy volley to hit, what you just saw. Be careful here. Such a good ball. Such a good ball.
That was.
And that ball was even beyond the light post up, right, towards the door.
Is that the fourth panel slam?
Yeah. Match point.
Okay, great.
Slow it down. Slow it down.
A little reset and get to work.
Yeah. You think Morgan's going to sleep tonight? If he wins this match, he's going to be so amped up he might be walking around the yard. Alice is going to be looking for him in the morning. And what are you doing? He's like, I had to go for a walk. I'm waiting for McNerney just to crush a forehand. He has it all day. Just one that's sitting there for him to just rip it.
A little sneak attack.
Yeah. Get in there, Adam Morgan. That's that block. Right in that spot. See,
Yep.
it creates the movement. And then watch what happens here a couple balls later. Same spot.
They're on top of each other.
Uh-oh. Great dig. That's a big ball with spin on it from Burris.
Hanging around, Yunovich. All right.
Yeah, you see Graham almost like baiting the trap,
Wow.
looking to pounce on that down up overhead.
Here we go. There it is.
There is game, set, and match for Morgan and McInerney, 6-4, 7-5. Well, a reminder to everybody, we'll be back tomorrow. The semifinals are at 9:30 a.m. Don't forget that we are in daylight savings times, and change your clocks. Enjoy your extra hour of sleep. Guy, any final thoughts here on this match?
I'll tell you what, Mike, it was a really good match. I think in that second set there was some momentum shifts there when Burris and Chervinsky had a little bit more of a plan to hit the ball softer to McNerney screens. I think that was the right tactic, and it put pressure on Morgan to try to do more, and then they kind of went away from that, so it changed back. But I mean, just a great match on both sides. So congrats to Morgan and McNerney, and look forward to seeing you tomorrow at 9:30.
Yep, thank you all, and that's a wrap from the Chicago Charities quarterfinals.
At Corient, wealth management begins and ends with you. We believe the more personal the solution, the more powerful the result. We treat your goals as our own. We never lose focus on the life you want to build. And our experienced advisors design custom-built strategies to help you get there. It's time for a wealth management experience as sophisticated as you are. It's time for Corient.